every one of us, to one level or another, is suffering from normalcy bias.
Originating from deep inside the Rocky Mountains, transported through the power of the internet, and arriving inside your tiny earbuds. It's the Appraiser Coach Podcast.
Minisode.
Let me ask you a question, everybody. When a fire alarm goes off, let's say, not in your own home, but you're in a theater, an event, a mall, whatever. Fire alarm goes off. What do you do? Now, I know what you think you're going to do, but I really want you to think about what you actually would do. I want to pause here and remind you of a great company called Synapse. Synapse, of course, is a brother of Spark. Brandon Risch over there, Kyle, just great people producing great stuff, and a sponsor here at the program. Find out more by going to spark4appraisers.com. Again, it's spark4appraisers.com. All right, folks, question on the table. You are at an event. Let's say you're at a mall. Okay, you're shopping at the mall. Fire alarm goes off. What do you do? I know you're going to say, "Well, I would get out of the building." Guess what, folks? Statistically, you would not. Statistically, you would do absolutely nothing. You would look around. You would notice what everybody else is doing, and then most likely you would copy what everyone else is doing, which is nothing. Now, I want you to think about a time when that has happened. Okay. I will tell you of a time that it happened for me. It was a time that I hate to even remember, because it was not a fun time. I was at the expo in Vegas, and I was there the night of the shooting in Las Vegas. And I was a little bit off strip, not completely, but not right on the strip. And the fire alarm kept going off all night, and it bugged the hell out of me. I was not happy. I'm embarrassed now, because now I know what had happened. I didn't get out of the building. I didn't get dressed and get in my bathrobe and walk outside. I just got annoyed. It kept going off, and I thought, what the hell's going on? Leave it alone. Let me sleep. And I heard sirens and everything else outside, and I know, looking back on it, stupid, right? Now, would it have been good to go outside? Probably not, right? But would it have been good to at least find out what was going on instead of just getting annoyed? Probably, right? My purpose in telling you that story is, my guess is, anytime you hear a fire alarm and you're not in, your environment, chances are statistically you do the same thing. Why? Well, folks, it's called the normalcy bias. I don't know if you've heard about this term. It's a cognitive bias that we have because we are human beings. Right? Now, part of it is evolutionary. Part of it is we've evolved from cavemen, cavewomen, where it is good for us to look around and see what other people are doing. It's good to not jump every time you hear a sound, right? It's kept us alive for many, many years. But it also can be petrifying. And the whole point of the normalcy bias is that we want things to be normal, and when they are not normal, right, we don't do anything about it. There's all kinds of studies about what people did in 9/11. Now, this is not a judgment at all. None of us were there. None of us know what we would do. We like to armchair quarterback and look back and say, well, man, if the first plane had hit the tower, I would have been down and out right away. Now, some did, but not very many. The majority thought, wow, this is crazy. Holy smokes. Well, get back to work. Literally. I know it sounds crazy now looking back on it, but that's what happened because of normalcy bias. There are studies out there showing, in fact, there was one particular study, I don't have the details of it, I'm going off of memory, but a plane had crashed and people were alive. Most of the people were alive after the crash, but the fuselage had started on fire and people were sitting in their seats on the ground, and there's a fire in the fuselage, right? Some people got up and left. The whole back end of the plane had been cracked off. So it's not like they had to go through the door. They just simply ran down the aisles and out the back, and they were saved. And others sat there, watched people run past them in the aisle and burned to death. That is not a made-up story. Look it up. Why? Because of normalcy bias. Folks, they had just been in a plane crash. It was abnormal to be in a plane crash. It's abnormal to have a fire in the fuselage, and we do nothing sometimes because of this normalcy bias. It is petrifying. Now, again, it can be good, and it can save our lives. Many times it can be, in the examples that I've given you today, it can absolutely be detrimental to you. And so we have to look at this from a human nature standpoint and say, well, all right, now that we understand what the normalcy bias is, how will we handle things? Now, we can't ever predict what we're going to do in a situation like that. There's all kinds of studies, for example, of cops in shootings and the way that they act. And looking back on it, you think, what in the hell were they thinking, right? But if you really study human psychology, it starts to make sense why we do the things that we do. And knowing that will help us to be better business owners. Another thing that'll help us to be better business owners is this great product out there called Synapse. Folks, what is Synapse? Synapse is the ability to support your adjustments. Plain and simple, that's the easiest way I can explain it. If you feel like you turn in reports all the time of adjustments that just kind of make sense, they feel right. I hate to even go so far as to say you lick your fingers, stick it in the air, and decide what the adjustment should be. Folks, we've all been there, right? I've not done it in 5 years, by the way. So statute of limitations. We've been there, folks. Do you want to have better support for your adjustments, for your appraisal reports? Absolutely, you do. Synapse will help you to do that. Find out more by going to the website sparkforappraisers.com, and about a quarter way down the page, you'll see a little blue box that says learn more about Synapse. Click on that box. Spend 5 minutes today learning about Synapse. You will not regret it. Synapse for Appraisers. Find it at sparkforappraisers.com. All right, folks, welcome back to the program. Dustin Harris hanging out with you. I might be in your earbuds today. I might be on YouTube. Either way, I hope that you'll find the other version. If you found us on YouTube, welcome. Please subscribe. Please like this video. It helps us, helps the channel get out there to more people. If you are listening on your earbuds, you're driving around taking comp photos, and you've not yet seen the podcast, I welcome you to go to YouTube, type in the Appraiser Coach, find our channel. It's very easy to find. If you type in the THE Appraiser Coach, you will find it. Subscribe. You'll never miss an episode. We drop every week. Would love to have you as you're typing up your reports, maybe on one of the screens, listening as you go. It's fun to be in the studio, right? When I say studio, I've got two of them. I've got one downtown, a little fancier cameras, a little fancier setup. This is my home studio today. I've only got two cameras here, and we're still kind of testing the other thing out. And I might apply it over here, but for now, we have a little bit of a pause. You see that as I change over to the other camera, a little bit of an adjustment to the camera, but eventually we might get the other setup in here as well. Welcome. Good to have you. Now, we're talking about the normalcy bias today. Why, Dustin? Who gives a crap? Well, first of all, I kind of care about psychology. I don't know what it is. It's just me. I love Myers-Briggs. I love personality tests. I love psychology. I love studying why humans do what they do. It's one of my favorite sub-hobbies, right? I love learning things on YouTube, podcasts, different things. I love learning about why people do what they do. It's very interesting to me. Okay. That being said, that's not the reason you're listening today, because Dustin cares about psychology. The reason you are listening today, I hope, is that you are feeling right now this normalcy bias, and to recognize it allows you to be able to do something about it, right? Once you recognize one of the 12-step program, right? The first thing is you got to recognize you've got a problem. Folks, we all have a problem right now. Every one of us, to one level or another, is suffering from normalcy bias. The appraisal world has slowed down. For many of us, that is quote unquote not normal. Okay. Especially if you started in this career after, say, 2010. Okay. If you've been in this career, less than a dozen years, this is not normal. Now, even if you've been in the career as long as I have, which is almost 30 years, and been through a couple cycles, it still is not normal, right? You're still in that same realm of saying, well, yeah, okay, I've seen cycles before, but I've never seen a pandemic before. And I've never seen interest rates go from 3% to 6% in 3 months, right? I've never seen that before. Therefore, it's not normal. And thus, we, by definition, fall into the normalcy bias, at least on some level. So my question for you is, are you sitting in the fuselage watching a few people run past you, the fuselage is on fire, or the fire alarm is going off and you're doing nothing about it? My guess is probably yes, because most likely you are part of the 98%. The 98% is going to fall into this normalcy bias, folks, but you're here because you want to be part of the 2%, or you already are, and you need to be reminded. We all need this, right? We all need this swift kick in the ass and says, hey, you need to do something a little bit different. Now, the little bit different is this, folks. While things are slow, and they will stay slow for several months, now is the time to build your business. That's what we talked about last week on the minisode, right? To dig your well while you're thirsty, right? We talked last week about there's no such thing as a slow time, on it, not in it time. Folks, if you find yourself in the normalcy bias, meaning you're sitting there kind of paralyzed, the alarm is going off, you're feeling it, things are slow, it's not normal, and you don't know what to do, so you stay paralyzed. First of all, don't feel bad. You're normal. Okay. Speaking of that word, you're normal. That's why it's called the normalcy bias, because that's normal. Now it's time to kick yourself in the butt and do something different. Folks, if you want to know about what to do specifically, just got done with a webinar that I think you'll love. It's called What to Do When Appraisal Work is Slow. It's on my website right now for purchase. The recording, we did it on March 20th. If you're listening to this way in the future, it was March 20th, 2023 is the year that we are in. What to do when appraisal work is slow, and we get into the weeds, we get into the details and give you some real homework, real things that you can do to start building up your business. Check it out by going to theappraisercoach.com. Thank you, folks, and go create some value.
You've been listening to the Appraiser Coach podcast with Dustin Harris. If you like what you hear, please give us a 5-star rating and post a short review on iTunes. For more in-depth insider information on how you can make more money as a real estate appraiser, visit theappraisercoach.com and sign up for the All-Star team today. Thanks for joining us. And now, get out there and create some value.
Thank you, folks, and go create. Sorry, editor. Let's do that again.